Hello everybody, I hope you're having a good week. Now this is my first video back after a short hiatus due to a major life event, and I just wanted to start off the video by thanking everybody for the extremely positive feedback on the World v World video. I can't believe how well that video did. It's really exciting to me, and I'm so happy that so many people enjoyed it. So stay tuned for a World v World video in the near future. Now this video today, I just wanted to talk about playing Power Rev after the Janthir Wilds balance patch meta. Power Rev got nerfed and everything else got super strong, so it's a bit different, and I haven't made a video since Janthir's dropped, so this is my first video talking about the new stuff. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet, and we're going to show the build, and then we have a really great gameplay where I'm going to do some commentary over. Without any further ado, let's get into it. I want to keep this short and sweet, so here is the build that I've been running. So it's pretty close to standard for the Salvation Vindy. Salvation, Devastation, Vindicator. The traits, I think, are pretty well optimized for rank. It seems to have a good amount of survivability, a good amount of damage. Any of these three are interchangeable. I like the Source of Quickness. These two are interchangeable as well. You can always look here for the weapons, but here's Hammer and Greatsword is what I'm taking. Wayfinder Relic, Spellbreaker Rune, Intelligence, and Energy on both weapon sets. Short and sweet, that is the build. It's a really great game here, very hard fought against some good players, and like I say, I'm on the Salvation Vindicator for this one, and Vindicator got nerfed when Janthir dropped. Well, I should say Revenant in general got nerfed when Janthir dropped, because they nerfed the hammer some more, as well as nerfing the damage coefficients that Vindicator had. Now I think that nerfing the damage coefficients on Vindicator was a pretty fair nerf, and I think that taking the damage off of the Vindicator dodge was a pretty fair nerf. But what I didn't think was so fair were the nerfs to the hammer, because I think that Vindicator was overperforming, but I don't think any of the other the other Revenant specs, such as Herald, were overperforming. So I thought that the Vindicator nerfs were fine and fair, but the hammer ones, I think they could have done without, because Renegade is not in the best spot, Herald's not in the best spot, and nerfing one of their best weapons doesn't really make that any better. So the first team fight was a complete wash. I had a teammate pretty much go down very quickly, and so when you find yourself in a scenario like this, especially when maybe your teammates are playing odd off-meta builds, like maybe DPS Tempest, you've got to adapt. And so at this moment in time, I'm realizing that, okay, our team fight is very weak. Like, I'm looking at this team fight and it's already lost, right? There's no sense in me going in there. So I'm looking for other places to go, and I see that my thief on the map is rotating towards far. So I'm going to try and peel for my teammate here, but if I can't save him, I'm just going to go mid. And so I couldn't save the teammate, and so that's what I do, is I start working my way towards mid. Coming up to a Renegade with the spear. I have lots and lots of thoughts about the spear. I've tried it a bunch, and keep your eyes peeled for a soon upcoming Revenant spear video. I haven't seen anybody do any for PvP yet. I've seen a lot of people do PvE ones, and of course everybody knows it's hilariously overpowered in PvE. Something like a 54k benchmark with allies, like, yeah, but that power, I don't know, we'll talk about it in the PvP video. So I've got a duel here against this Condi Rev, and dueling Condi specs is all about kind of pacing your cleanses, because you've got one burst cleanse and you've got sort of a steady trickling of cleanses from your dodge, and so you need to pace yourself in time. And I port past that shortbow 5, that was pretty clean, and that gets me the kill. So I say to my thief with body language essentially, hey, let me sit here and you can run around and go do thief stuff. So I want to supplant myself on this node and essentially become a duelist. One of the nice things about Salvation Vindicator is it can function fairly well as a duelist or as a DPS. You know, if you play Devastation Vindicator, you're more of a DPS roamer, which is fine, but if you want to have the flexibility to fill this duelist role more comfortably, then Salvation Vindicator does that job a lot better. So this Revenant keeps rezzing himself, so I bled him out for a long time and essentially made his respawn time maybe 40, maybe even 50 seconds. So that's a little lesson on bleeding. We've got a Spellbreaker here. Just looking to read his cooldowns. I noticed that he's got the Greatsword. Block his Bull's Charge and his 100 Blades. And I need to mind my spacing here because, and look at this strange bug that I've been getting. My guy completely goes invisible. You kind of mind your spacing because you don't want to be too close that they can hit you freely with melee damage, but you don't want to be so far away that you get tethered. Now the Renegade comes back and is shooting me, so I need to kite. I need to give up this node. When you're in a 2v1 situation like this, you should give up the node. He gets the pull on me, and I am running away to survive, do a little bit of kiting. The Renegade stays on the node, which is really nice for me, because then I only need to deal with Spellbreaker. The Spellbreaker knows that, so he backs away. I get a good port in on him. Let's see if I can get the kill. No, not quite. He had his Defiant stance up, and so I was unable to get that kill. He's hit me through the wall. Another time with that Greatsword skill. He's doing that quite well. But I'm keeping my target on him. I'm looking to essentially get a bit of a turn and burn on him by kiting away and then jumping in and getting a burst. But he's so tanky and gets so much damage mitigation that it takes a while. But we finally get him with that. Now that a teammate has showed up. I get pulled in one last time, but at this point it's just the Renegade against myself and my teammate, so I'm not too terribly worried about that. And Renegade falls, and I go ahead and claim my node. So that is a little showcase of the potential power of Salvation Vindicator, the fact that I was able to survive and sustain against a big scary Spellbreaker, who is kind of king of PvP right now, and a Condi Rev, which also does quite well at the moment. So I put the Rev down and the bleed on him because the Spellbreaker has arrived, and now I focus on this duel. Stow my weapon when I see that full counter, and he pops his Defiant stance. Oh my goodness, the fact that that has not gotten the nerf is unreal. And the Condi Axe Thief comes in, and I'm trying to put some pressure on him because if you let him free cast, he will kill your teammates. So we get a little bit of damage on him. He's very, very squishy. And I'm just trying to follow this up here. I'm not so scared about the Warrior, but meanwhile the Warrior finishes off my teammate, so maybe I should have been a little bit more scared of the Warrior. Now the Mesmer bursts me, and so I need to run away very quickly, and the Thief follows it up. I just need to use this terrain, these poles, to block a line of sight and sustain myself. I go into this little room here, and the Thief, I'm not sure if his axe skills worked properly in that little enclosed space, so he didn't want to be in there, which is fine by me, because I don't really want him in here. So I'm just chilling, you know, if I'm holding two of them here, then my team is fighting an advantageous fight on the rest of the map because they will be 3v4. So if they want to sit here and not kill me, I welcome that, right? I'm totally fine with that. And so we're just dueling the Axe Thief. I get a good chunk of damage on him, and that sends him running. And I know that. I'm quite confident that he's run away. And so I just take my node and look out for the next incoming duel. And we can see that the Renegade is coming off respawn. He wants to try this duel again. If I was him, I would not force this duel time after time the way that he did. But different strokes for different folks, I suppose. So we down him with the help of my Thief. And the enemy Thief arrives, as well as my Berserker Warrior. So I poured in on the guy who is arriving in the fight, because I think that it's going to be harder for me to kill the Thief than it is for me to kill the Engineer coming in, and I was correct. I get the kill on the Engineer, or the down I should say, But the enemy Mesmer arrives, and he does an enormous power burst on me, but I rally off of the engineer that I had downed previously. So I got a little bit lucky there. I can't really attribute that to personal skill, other than the fact that I got a lucky down on the engineer and happened to rally at the right time there. So, doing great. I have not died yet on far, which is exactly what you need to do. And my thief has come and plussed me a number of times, which is excellent on his part. You know, I think that a lot of people in lower ranks have the misconception that thief is a side noder. It's really not. It functions best if you have a side noder that can hold a side node, and then the thief comes to plus him and secure those duels and those kills. And that's exactly how we've been playing this ranked game, and so it's been going quite well. The Spellbreaker and the Engineer both come to the bell, the enemy, Spellbreaker and Engineer. Obviously, you want to kill the Engineer first. Spellbreakers are just so tanky, it takes forever to kill them, so we focus the Engineer and get that down. And then we end up getting the bell. And that will segue into us getting the win. And considering how hard we had to fight for the first team fight, how quickly we lost, I think this was a pretty good win, and I'm quite pleased with how this one went. So yes, you can still play Power Rev in the Janthir Wilds meta. Is it as strong as it has always been? Certainly not, but it can work if you play it right. So here's a little example of that. Hope you guys found this entertaining, and thanks again for the reception to my previous video. That's all for me. I will see you fine folks next week.